Caribou County Farm Bureau Candidate Forum for the candidates for City Council and Mayor here in the City of Silver Springs. I want to begin by thanking Loungins who provided some refreshments for this evening. And by the way, now would be a good time to zip over there and grab a plate of refreshments so that you have something to munch on while you listen to politics. I've always found it makes politics more palatable to have something to eat while you're listening to it. Also, I want to thank the Rotary Club and the Farm Bureau for being willing to sponsor this. Both of those organizations were committed to our civic involvement. We have the blessing here in America of self-government. That means we have the government that we pick and choose ourselves, but that kind of requires that we be knowledgeable about who it is we're electing. So thank you for being here and doing your duty as a citizen here. We're going to begin this evening. I will lead us in a pledge of allegiance to the flag, and then we've asked Scott Muir, who is the president of our Silver Springs Rotary Club, to give us an invocation at the beginning of this meeting, which is a tradition of Rotary. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, we're thankful for the opportunity we have to meet together at this edifice tonight and to celebrate those candidates that are running for office here in our wonderful community. We're thankful for this community and for the efforts that our community citizens and our leaders put into this community to help it be a better place. We ask you, Father, to please open the minds of those that will be asked questions tonight, that they'll be able to be clear and understanding of those questions and be able to respond to the best of their ability. We're again grateful, Father, for all that we have, and we ask that you please continue to bless us with the abundance of that we need, and we leave these things humbly with you in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Could I ask the candidates for City Council to please come forward, and as you come up to the stage, I will ask you to reach into this. This is actually my son's cowboy hat. I don't have a nice felt hat like this. It's Christmas time coming up. Reach into this hat, and you will pull out a piece of paper that has a number on it. And we'd ask number 1 to sit on this side, number 2 to sit in the middle, and number 3 to sit here. You don't mind? Okay. Yeah, it is a good cowboy hat, like I said. I don't have one. Okay, the format for today's forum will be as follows. Each of these candidates, by the way, we did a little bit more. I hope you all noticed. Each of these candidates actually have already recorded their answers to a question on what they thought was the biggest challenge facing Silver Springs. And those have been posted on the Rotary website. You may have seen them on some of the other community websites. 30-second reel. Apparently that's how we communicate these days, is through 30-second reels. And so each of the candidates for both mayor and city council here were kind enough to participate, and thank you for doing that. So that question, by the way, has been answered, and the whole community can see each of their answers. The only other question that was submitted in advance is to tell us about yourself and why you're running, and that will be their opening remarks. So each candidate will be given 3 minutes to tell us a little bit about themselves and why they're running. After which we will have 15 minutes, and thank you all. I've got now a pocket full of questions, and we'll for 15 minutes move us through as many of these questions as possible. The ones we are not able to get to, we will submit to the candidates so that they can prepare some kind of response, and the Rotary website will be made available to you to provide answers to any of those that we can't respond to in the forum tonight. After that 15 minutes, each candidate will be given 2 minutes we found that's important because they all want to set the record straight and make sure that they've concluded their remarks with their take-home message and why they want you to vote for them. And then after that, we'll move and change from the city council panel to the mayoral panel. And we'll go through that very same process with the mayoral panel. Okay? So, I take it, Mr. Worthington, you drew the number 1?
I did.
Would you then kick off tonight's forum with your 3 minutes? By the way, I'll be giving you 3, 2, 1. This symbol means 1/2 minute, and then this symbol means you're done talking.
Well, I'm already confused.
Okay, good.
Can you hear me okay? Thank you. Thank you for coming to tonight's forum. I appreciate that. I'm Rod Worthington. I see a lot of familiar faces out there. A lot of them have been my past students. A lot of them I've taught now their kids. And now I get to be a principal at Howard E. Thurgood Elementary. And it's been fun to see some of those kiddos that are in my school. I'm a fifth generation Idahoan. I've had the privilege of living in Idaho nearly all my life. I attended Ricks College, played a little football at Ricks College now it's BYU Idaho. I then moved on to Idaho State University, and then I went on to University of Idaho for a more advanced degree. My wife and I have been here for just a little over 30 years, and she's also a teacher. She teaches at the high school now, and I have bounced from the high school to the middle school and now to the elementary as a principal. There I can say that I truly am gifted and blessed to be able to do and work with some of our finest, and about 300 of the finest little citizens in our community. And I just want to say that I take that very seriously, because that right there, and those little people are our future. I am known not only by Mr. Worthington, Rod Worthington, but Dub, or Mr. Dub by the elementary kiddos. I was on the planning before coming on the city council 4 years ago. I was on the planning and zoning for about 8 years. I worked with Charles Fryer and a lot of other great commissioners, and I was fortunate to be part of that, and I learned a lot about the zoning and the needs for our community and that growth. I was part of a great group that put together our city's comprehensive plan, and that right there was a chore. And it took several years to do that. And I worked with some really great people to do that. I'm very fortunate to have served on the city council for, that's about it, right? Half, okay. I've been fortunate to serve on the city council, and I've worked with some really great councilmen on there, and with really great people in our community. So thank you very much.
Was that about right, Trent? All right. Perfect. Thanks. Well, you have a mic.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ryan Carpenter. I'm seeking re-election for City Council. Again, I'd like to thank everyone for showing up. This is awesome. As a city councilman, our meetings get awfully boring with 6 of us staring across an empty room at each other. So it's nice to have a little community involvement. First off, I guess since Doug told you his nickname, I go by Carp. Everyone calls me Carp except for my kids, and my wife only calls me that when she's mad at me. So Paige, you're gonna have to come up with a nickname if you want to fit in. No, but I grew up in Soda Springs. I graduated high school from Soda and moved away for about 20 years and came back 10 years ago. And I wish I could put into words the attraction Soda Springs has on people. There is just something magical about this town. And I think it's mostly has to do with the people. And so when we moved back, I had the opportunity to be involved in a few things. I've been involved with the car show for 27 years now, and got to be involved in some fundraisers for some people who are maybe a little less fortunate than us. And I got to see firsthand the generosity of people, and especially here in Soda. And it really opened my eyes and warmed my heart a little bit, and wanted me to, it kind of caused me to want to give back a little bit and do my part. And as our good mayor, who's currently serving, told me once, complaining is the easy part. And he told me it's time to put my money where my mouth is, so to speak. And so I decided to run. And I'll tell you, the last 4 years have been nothing less than eye-opening. I thought I knew a lot about how cities run until I was on the other side of the table, and I realized how much I didn't know. So the last 4 years have been a really neat opportunity for me to see how cities work, kind of the good and bad way to run cities, to be really more of a numbers guy. I wasn't a spreadsheet guy, but when you're on city council, you become a spreadsheet guy. Everything's a spreadsheet, and so I've enjoyed my time. I appreciate it, and I'll turn it over to Paige.
Thank you. I am Paige Byram. My kids even call me Paige, so I guess that's my nickname. However, I used to be known as the Soda Sip Lady. So I am the person that created Soda Sip. We moved here to Soda Springs 14 years ago. We opened up Point S Tire, and then we had a house that was underground house that was sitting there just full of water. And so one day I got this crazy idea that I would open a soda shop. And so that was the hardest thing I had ever done, was I created that from the ground up. And so I enjoy working on projects like that. I enjoy giving back to the community. Through Soda Sip, I was able to create the cereal drive, which gives back a box of cereal at Christmas time to every kid in the community. That's elementary school and middle school. Just to try to give them something to eat, to make sure they have food on their table. We did a lot of fundraisers and gave back to people in need in our community for cancer and things like that. And I really enjoy being involved in the community. And this is one way that I feel like I could get out and help help my voice be heard. And I look forward to being able to do stuff like that. A little bit more about me. I am from Salem, Oregon. I grew up not in Soda Springs, but we have 3 kids. We met in Rexburg. My last 2 kids, something unique about me, they're 8.5 months apart, so that was kind of shocking. So they are definitely Irish twins. So that was another hard thing that I have overcome, but yeah, that is kind of about me. I enjoy baking, I enjoy getting involved. I am not a person that likes to sit up and talk in front of everybody, but I like to get out there and work. So, thank you.
Very good. Now, at this point, there have been cards distributed out on all of your tables. Some of them were turned in before we started the forum. Do any of you have some cards sitting at your tables? I think I can yell out.
Good enough for
Can you all hear? I'm calling for questions. We had some great questions turned in. We probably have enough for the 15 minutes that we've got. But feel free, if you come up with a question while they're answering, go ahead, fill out the form, submit it, and like I said, we'll give the candidates a chance to answer, and they can post their responses on social media. Because some of these are deep thought questions, I'm going to give you a question that we want your answer to. You'll get 1 minute to answer, but I'm going to give you a question that I think you don't want to have sprung on you. And this is the question. What are you willing and or wanting to do to bring life and business back into downtown? Okay? I'm not going to ask you to answer that right now. We'll have that be your last question of the 15 minutes. So you have a chance to think for 15 minutes about your answer. Okay? Now, this will be a lightning round. You get 1 minute if you need it. Some of these are just simple yes or no, couple word answers. would you do to improve communication between the city and the community? And we'll actually just stagger the response order, so we'll start with you, Ryan, this time.
You know, being on the city council has given us an opportunity to really see what we've done wrong. You know, we'd like to think we're good at everything, and then as time passes, we realize, you know, how short-sighted that was, and where our failings and things we could do better, and I think that's important. So, you know, we recognize when we, you know, swing for the fences and ground out. And, you know, I'm sure this is about Main Street, which we've talked as a council and as city staff of things that we thought were taken care of and that weren't. So hopefully we've implemented some policies, and I'm sure we'll fail again. I mean, we're only human. We try to cover as many bases as we can, but with big, substantial projects, you know, things fall through the cracks. So I appreciate people who recognize that and kind of bring it to our attention, but, you know, it's hard to communicate. Soda Springs is kind of weird because we have a social media class, and then we have a newspaper class, and then, so trust me, we're trying to do better. I think, you know, redundancy counts. You can't communicate things, and I'm talking especially for projects like the Highway 30. So I hope people will be patient if they get a lot of information from two sources.
Go to page next.
I would like whoever the mayor is to start a mayoral page. I think it'd be on Facebook, social media, things like that. I think it's important to report back after the agenda is done, after city council is done, what actually was discussed, what's going on, and have updates currently that we can access on social media, on the website. We have so many different aspects that we can reach out to people now. I know there's even texting communication that people can sign up for when there's emergencies and things like that. I think we should get community involvement by communication, and I think it's hard to meet everybody, but I think we can reach out to a lot more people and keep people involved.
Do I have to call you W?
Dub or whatever, well, Rod is fine.
The honor, not the Honorable Mr. Worthington like you usually demand, right?
Thank you. I'll just say this as far as our city council. I the mayor, and Mitch Hart, we were tasked with at the very beginning when I came on board as a city councilman was first we need to communicate right with the employees that are working with the city council. I mean, it's with the city. So we gathered that together, and during their weekly meetings, they would come together and they would work on those projects, and then all those folks on our working for our city would sign off, or they're supposed to be signing off on those sheets, so they know what's going on with the projects that are happening. Next thing, I will say this is I appreciated the fact that we put our meetings online and that they're live, and so I always welcome those folks and to chime in. And sometimes we'll only have 2 or 3 that are attending that meeting online. But I think it was a great idea to do that. I pushed for it. I know Paul Gritton pushed for it, and the city council welcomed that. So appreciate that.
Okay, thank you very much. The next question, are you in favor of renovating the sidewalks in town? And this is whether there's a current plan to do that or not, okay? And Paige, would you like to start with that?
I think renovating the sidewalks in town is important, but I feel like we need to focus on infrastructure before we fix the sidewalks, just so we can not have to dig them up again. That would be my comment on that. I think it's important to fix them. I think if we could fix them where we don't need the infrastructure dug up would be great, but I think the infrastructure needs done, number one.
Mr. Worthington?
So we've improved our sidewalks on 4 South, and I want to say that I appreciate the fact that the city has come out and said we've received grants, so thank you for that. And we've put sidewalks down on 4 South, so that our little people exiting out of Thurkel Elementary have a place to walk on instead of everyone else's lawns. And that is going to go all the way down 4 South and up 3rd East. So that is important to update our sidewalks. And I do agree with Ms. Byram is the fact that, yeah, we need to work on our infrastructure, but we also need to have safety for those people that are walking instead of just downtown right on our streets. So anyway, thank you.
I tend to take this at a little different angle. Currently, according to city code, sidewalks in front of your house are actually your sidewalk. So and the reason for that is $30,000 will get you about 2.5 houses worth of sidewalk. So if we did that for the whole city, we're probably looking where there's sidewalk, probably $7-8 million. So yeah, if we have nothing else, let's put new sidewalks in. But we have some more pressing issues. So, if we wanted to be sticklers, we could hold homeowners to city code and make them replace bad sidewalk. We choose not to do that for the most part, unless it's a real serious hazard. So that's kind of the sticky widget we're in with sidewalks.
Okay, thank you. This will have to be the second to last question we ask. Remember, business revitalization will be your final question, but before we get to that one, it's 2 years from now, you've won your office. What, looking back, do you want to have accomplished? We'll start with you, Mr. Wood.
So, as far as two years from now is, I am a big guy, I'm not a real flashy guy, but I know the importance of the infrastructure and knowing that we have water coming out of our faucets and the sewer lines are contained in the right way. And so we have a Ledge Creek line that runs right from Kelly Park all the way over to 3rd East. That line is one of our main lines for water, and that needs to be replaced. And we've been working on that as projects, and I've appreciated that. But we need to push that even faster and further into the agenda. So back to the infrastructure, and that is a huge project that we need to do. We have it from Kelly Park to Hooper Avenue, or Highway 34, and now we need to finish it from that Hooper Avenue all the way to 3rd East. But it's going to cost some money.
I got my own. In 2 years from now, I hope I hope to look back and say, we got a lot done on really a conservative budget. We do have a lot of needs in the city, and that's not news to anyone. Our infrastructure, and that's kind of across the nation. Everybody's infrastructure is aging. Everyone should have done it 20 years ago and it was cheap. Well, unfortunately, that's not the case now. So I hope I look back and say, I took a part in updating those services that the city provides, sewer, water, power. Now, we've got a new park out south of town that we're working on. I hope to see that come to fruition and some more recreational opportunities for people. That's kind of a neat project, and I think it'll bring a lot to Soda Springs. Hopefully touristy and kind of just add to the quality of life that we have in Soda Springs.
I would like to follow through with the citizens and bring more trust to the city. I feel like we kind of lost that when we go into different situations into the city and we ask questions and then different things happen down the road. I feel like roadblocks are thrown up as businesses try to come into town, and I feel like we really need to get those roadblocks down and welcome our citizens and welcome this community. I think we can do a better job at helping out as a community. I know that there's different areas in the parks that need cleaned up, and I would love to create park cleanup days and continue to grow as a community. I know the infrastructure is super important. I would love to work on projects like that and communicate as they replace the highway that's gonna happen this next year. I think that's gonna take our whole community to work together, and I think that's super important as we keep going on, so.
Thank you. Well, now you've had nearly 15 minutes to think about what you would do for downtown revitalization. Can we get your 1-minute answer starting with Mr. Carpenter?
Good thing I wasn't thinking about anything else. So obviously, Main Street is important to Soda Springs, it's important to me and to the council personally. So I've taken the opportunity here in the last couple months to talk with some local artists here in town to start kind of an informal arts council. And that'll be maybe a little more formal once we establish some things. So our ultimate goal is to have an art walk downtown. Now, I know this is probably pertaining to the Enders, and I think we have an opportunity, whether you like Enders, hate the fact that we have it. I think we owe it to explore all options with the Enders, and I think we need to maybe look at it as a potential as a catalyst to revitalizing downtown. Now, that might look different to everyone in this room, so we're all ears, but I think it could start there, and that's an opportunity that, and I'm sure Paul will talk about the city park or the state park. I don't want to steal his thunder, but the one thing we're going to need if we're going to revitalize downtown is community buy-in. We're all going to need to be a part of it, and that's going to be the most important part.
I'm sure this is no popular opinion, but I feel like we need to try sell Enders. I know that's probably not very popular, but we're $500,000 in debt to our city when we need infrastructure repairs. I think it could be sold with stipulations to keep it historic, to keep it moving and open, but I also don't feel like the city should be in competition with our hotels and with our restaurants and things like that. So I think that would be number one for me. I feel like replacing the Main Street water lines and things like that were super helpful. I think that's a start to the businesses to help them out and the sidewalks and things like that. But to create a community, I don't think we should be in business against our citizens. So.
Thank you. 4 years ago, I said we need to sell Enders right away. And I fought that, and I pressed that right to the very end until other opportunities came open. And and Ms. Byron was absolutely right. We've spent some money on that. And I was very, I guess I was a little bit disgusted in the fact that when I first went in and toured all of this building and the way that it was left from the previous owner or the leasee of that building, it bothered me. It was very important to me to save that building. And then as we went on, we had ideas that came up and said, you know what, that is a great way to revitalize Main Street and bringing in a state park. Is that a possibility? Possibly. But you know what, the city council and our community has come together on the Main Street project with the brand new sidewalks. It has not been painless, but the brand new sidewalks, the Main Street, the water line, and the sewer line. And you know what? Our Main Street is lit up. And so that is a great way right there to make it all happen. And we do have businesses moving in. Thank you.
Okay, did I go over, Trent?
You did.
Sorry, a little bit.
So now we'll have an opportunity to hear for 2 minutes, kind of you to sum up your general vision, what your hopes are, why people should vote for you. And we'll start with Paige, we'll go to Rod, and then Ryan. Thank you.
Well, I wasn't prepared for this question. I want to get out there and work for you guys. I want to listen to you. I want to meet with the Main Street businesses and see what we can do to help. I feel like the city does a good job. We have great employees. We have great people on our community in our community and that work for the city. And I think if we can improve the communication between everybody, it will make the projects that we have to do to improve our community, it will make it much easier. If we can take down some of the roadblocks, when I built SodaSip, I ran into issue after issue. I had to slow down before I could speed up. And I feel like if we want to bring businesses to Soda Springs, we have to work with them instead of against them. So I hope you will vote for me. I hope you've seen what I can do in the community, and I will give it my all. So thank you so much.
Can you repeat the question, Trey? This is your 2-minute closing remarks, and the purpose of it is basically tell this group of people why they should vote for you.
Okay, so first, I was very humbled to even be elected the first time. And it's been a lot of work. And I've appreciated that. And, you know, in the last 4 years, I've learned a lot. I've learned that it's not easy to run a city on the funds that we do have. But one thing I will say is I really appreciate all our city employees. Those are the folks that are trying to fix our water lines, our sewer lines, those that are running the fire trucks down the roads, protecting our homes 24 hours a day. We have a lot of great services here in Soda Springs. I guess to say I've learned a lot, and I would like to carry that knowledge forward and continue the dialogues that I have with all the people that I get to work with, whether they be little or bigger people. I want to make sure that I have those dialogues and I have open ears. And I really truly believe that our city council does have those open ears. And to say, I guess my purpose is what I have as far as I have a mission statement that I get to listen to, where I listen to it, and I say it, and I look at it every single morning at about 7:20 before I meet the kids out on the sidewalk every morning. But I think it relates really well with what I'm talking about now. I have this memorized, but be patient with me because I'm going to look at it a little bit. My purpose is to serve God and my fellow man by being a loving, compassionate, courageous, playful, and innovative individual. I strive to be an example of the unlimited possibilities that life offers me. I will focus on growing, giving, and living to my fullest potential. So with that said, I say it every day. And I will continue to say that as an elected official with the Soda Springs City Council. Thank you.
Thanks, Doug. I too have a mission statement that I say every morning before I leave the house. Be sure to come home with the same number of holes you left with. I appreciate the sympathy laughs. It's very awkward to stand up and say vote for me. That's such a weird thing. But I hope that what I can impress upon you is that as a city councilman, I don't feel any different than any of you out there. I work in the dirt all day long. You know, I'm dirty at 6:30 in the morning till 6:30 at night. And I love it. I love being a member of this community, and I love being a guy who gets things done. My whole professional career has been what I can produce with my hands. And it's not glamorous, but it's satisfying to me. And I get a great sense of accomplishment from that. And that's what I have enjoyed about the city council, is that I can look back and see things that I had sometimes a small part of, and sometimes a little bit bigger part. Writing a check counts for something. I tell my kids that all the time. Their mom did this, dad paid for it, so that counts. But so it's nice to see something that you've had a part in that maybe helps, I don't know, brighten someone's day, but just helps improve lives. And that's kind of a weird thing to say, but it's nice to look back and see something that you've played a hand in that has done a greater good. So I appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity, and thank you.
Let's give a big applause. Again, we'll follow the same format. I see you've arranged in order, and so we'll begin with Mr. Lau to give us 3 minutes, a little introduction of who you are and why you're seeking the office.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Robert Lau. I am fortunate to be a 5th generation Lau to live here in Soda Springs. And 16 years ago, my wife and I made the decision to move here and buy a little business. And the impetus for that was a great place to raise kids. A hardware store would be a great way to teach kids how to work. But we also wanted to provide a little stimulus to a community that I've loved my whole life. As a little kid, I had the opportunity to take one of the bikes out of my grandmother's basement there on 2nd East and ride down Hooper and go to Stores Market and then down Main Street and hit all the different stores there and the old Ben Franklin up on where Rollins is now. And it was just a wonderful life. And over the years, most of the businesses that I would frequent as a child have left. And I wanted to be part of the solution in helping bring business and bring some vitality to what is otherwise an amazing community full of amazing people. And so that's a little bit about who I am. 15 years on, I've had the opportunity to serve 8 years on the city council. I've been on numerous regional government boards. This month marks the 15th year that I've served on the senior center board, which I count and treasure as one of the greatest experiences of my life. Professionally, being able to work with those people and the changes that we've been able to accomplish over the last 15 years. From month after month having to chip in money to make it ends meet at the senior center to now having the funds that we need to expand services for a critical population in our community. And so I have a lot of experience, and that's all neat and great. What I say that's the best part about my experience is that it never jaded me. It's really, really easy, and 4 years being away from city council has been amazing for me because it's given me some time to step back. It's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day problems that we have, especially from a city standpoint, that we forget the dreams that we want to chase. And so one of the promises I make tonight to you, if I'm elected, is we're going to chase and we're going to accomplish the goals and the dreams that we've all been talking about for decades. I mean, since I was a little kid. And so I look forward to working with each of you over the next few years, and I have a very specific plan on how we're going to chase these dreams. And I look forward to working with you over the next few years to make them happen.
Mr. Weimer?
Thank you, Chair. Thanks for coming. My name is Brock Byram. I was born and raised in Idaho. I grew up just north of here, but we've lived pretty much our whole life in Idaho. We lived a little bit in Washington, but we've been in Idaho ever since. And there's a lot of great things about Soda Springs. Does it have its challenges? Absolutely. I think everybody out here would agree with that. I would like to see, hitting your vote, and it all comes down to that. I would like to see economic and residential growth for Soda Springs. Now, I don't want to grow just to grow, but in my opinion, we are at that point where we can kind of go either way. We want to increase the population. We want to increase businesses coming to town. And we want to make it easy for businesses to decide to come to Soda Springs and live in such a great community we all live in. We're all here for a reason, whether it's work or family or home or whatever that reason is. But I think we're here because we love this area. I think we're here because it has so much to offer. When you tell people you're from Soda Springs, what do they all say? Oh, I love that place. It's so much fun. And it is. It's a great area. February's a little challenging, but Soda Springs is a great community. It's a community-minded area that we live in, and I just want to see it grow and succeed as best as it can.
Thank you. Please excuse me to stand. It helps me quite a bit to stand here. First, I wanted to offer some thanks to the Rotary and the Farm Bureau for putting this on. Appreciate you guys very much for doing that. Then I wanted to thank all of you for coming tonight. It means a great deal to me to see all you folks that are interested in your community and its functioning in the political process. Why I wanted to run, 2 years on the city council has made me totally appreciate candidates such as these two, the city council candidates. I've learned that being in elected office is not an easy task. I appreciate you guys for being willing to step up. I appreciate all the council candidates. Why I've chosen to run for mayor, 2 years in the city council has shown me that there are a number of ways that I think I can use my energy, passion, and ideas to make Soda Springs an even better place than it is now. And I've been in business here for, I think, 18 years, pushing 18 years. Soda Springs has done a lot for me, and I feel indebted to the community, and that's one of my primary motivations for serving in the political process is to try to give back to the community. I've been involved in a lot of different community functions. I've done Movie in the Park. I've been an EMT in the search and rescue. I was a search and rescue commander here for a year or two, and those are all that helped me be a more rounded mayoral candidate. I didn't say my name, I don't think, to begin with. I'm Paul Britton, and similar to Ryan Carpenter, many of you may know I run a gun shop. I too want to come home with the same number of holes that I went to work with. Thank you.
So several of the questions that were asked to the city council candidates have been posed also to go to the mayors, but I should ask, are there any additional cards that want to be submitted that have questions maybe just for the mayoral candidates? Do we have any of those? There was at least one question that was specific to a mayoral candidate, so we'll get to it. But maybe since you have no excuse for why you shouldn't have thought of this, given that it was a major question asked to the city council candidates, let's go with the question of what would you do to restore vitality to the business sector of this town? And we'll start with you, Mr. Bach.
I would go back to when the soda shop was opened, the red tape that had to be jumped through. We approached the city numerous times and said, we want to do this. Okay, do that. And then you did what you said you were going to do. And then, well, hold on, you can't do that now. We've got to change this. I think business is needed in Soda Springs. I really do. I think we need to build that economic diversity and bring business. But I think cutting out the red tape, making it easier, looking for grants, looking for any benefit, tax incentives to get people to come to Soda Springs and just open up businesses in our town.
Thank you. I would like to think that I've kind of begun work on revitalizing Main Street. The effort to publish the restart of the geyser appears to me to have brought numerous tour buses coming to the geyser to see it go off. I didn't see those tour buses before. So some other things I've been working, as you may know, on a state park proposal. I think that has implications to totally change the economic landscape of not only Main Street, but our entire community and our entire county and this corner of the state. It's not going to be easy. It hasn't been easy. I've put hours of work in it, and I can't say that I've significantly moved the needle, but I do have some indicators that we've made some progress. I will say that, like Paige, I had concerns about the funds that was spent on Enders. I still have those concerns, but I'm trying to look at the long term, and if we can hang in there and see this through, the potential benefits to each of you, to all of our businesses in the entire community, our hospital, could be profound. That we could have tourism here that creates many more new jobs, many new businesses on Main Street. I'm really excited about that work. I pledge to continue that work whether I'm elected mayor or not, because I am convinced that it is something that will benefit the community substantially in ways that we really can't understand until it happens. The other thing about that is, as I undertook that project, I received overwhelming support. To this very day, up till today, I had 2 people who expressed concerns or opposition to the idea, and I talked to one person today who expressed concern about it. So 3 people in approximately 8 months have expressed concerns about that. I turned in 30 letters of support to Congressman Mike Simpson when he came here to see what he could do to help the project along. That was substantial to me. Thank you.
So a active, vibrant Main Street is really where you tell the overall health of the community, and unfortunately ours is struggling right now. And a lot of that, we can look to ourselves as individuals at how often do we frequent the restaurants and shops that we do have in town. It's often really convenient to not, whether we're in Pocatello or Salt Lake or in our pajamas on Amazon. And having been a small business owner for a long time here, it's the chicken and egg thing. And so we as a community, we can all do better. And the city itself can do a lot better at procuring things from locally owned and operated businesses, rather than always procuring them from outside. And so, but the biggest thing I'd like to see us do for Main Street to help with a real economic push real quick is this idea that I have to get a community center finally built. And there's funding and there's ways to get that done in the next couple of years. And put it right there on Main Street between the library and the Scout House, the old City Hall, and all the activities and the events that start to happen and start to have activities in City Park regularly will drive economic development back to Main Street.
Thank you very much. We've had some additional questions turned in, and it gives me the opportunity as your moderator to kind of pull some together. Do you remember the question about sidewalks here in town? Well, an additional question has been raised that kind of touches on that. Here's the question as interpreted by the moderator. What can you, as the mayor of this town, do to make it easier for the citizens to maintain that part of the city that's under their jurisdiction, like the sidewalks, the part of the, actually, from my understanding, we actually own to the center line of the Main Street, of the streets in town. So what can we as citizens do to better take care? And is there any way the city can help us do that better? Mr. Green.
Thank you. I think that communication from the city back and forth with the citizenry can help accomplish a great deal in that regard. The city code, I think, needs to be adhered to, like Councilman Carpenter said. But having a dialogue with the citizens, we could maybe consolidate projects that could reduce costs and work together as a community to try to address some of those needs as a group.
So sidewalks have been a hot button for years. There is only one city ordinance regarding sidewalks, and that is that they have to be installed on new construction. Beyond that, there's a state statute that says cities can levy against its population for the construction and maintenance of sidewalks. But the biggest thing to Trent's point is we have an opportunity as citizens to help take care of the sidewalks that exist, right? And then one of the plans that I would like to do is create a Citizens Development Council to prioritize the things that are important. And if more sidewalks are important, then how do we fund those? We've done a great job the last few years getting a couple of grants, Safe Walk to School grants to get them in, but those aren't gonna apply to all the parts of town. And so the question comes then, you know, where does that fall on the level of importance of all the other things that we want to do? Because we have multiple buckets of money that funds are in, but a lot of those buckets share those funds and those resources.
Can I get that question again? Refresher?
With regard to things like the sidewalks and business fronts and other elements of our town that are really under the jurisdiction of the private owner, what could the city do to help us be better stewards of our own property? By the way, did I capture that good enough for the person who put that question? I'm trying to lump together that and the sidewalk question. Are we okay with that? Okay.
Well, I think we all have to have pride in the area that we live in, and I think most of us do. I think when you go through town, there's a couple of places that aren't, you know, they don't look that inviting. They don't look that good to us. But I think we have to have some pride of ownership in maintaining not only our houses, our businesses, and really appreciate where we live. It would be nice if everybody had sidewalks. It would be nice if everything was ADA compliant. It would be nice if all these things were taken care of us by the city. I know 4 South is getting new sidewalks, and that's fantastic. But there's a cost to that, and we have to just manage our money wisely. It's again, there's hoops that the city has put us through that makes it challenging to do business here. I'll give you an example. One of our properties was closed off, which is a violation of city code a year ago, and so we have continually asked the city to at least come out and look at it. And after about 4 times of asking, they just say we'll show up when the snow's gone. The snow's gone now, but we still haven't seen anybody since last year. So I would just stress communication and just, if we're asking our citizens to do anything, we need to have the same responsibility as a city.
Mr. Griffin?
Here it is.
You answered the question already.
I mean, I could go again if you let me.
No, actually, now's a good time. We did have one question submitted for only one of the candidates. And since I've actually heard this question raised multiple times, this is for you, Mr. Byron. One of the jobs of the mayor is to cast the tie-breaking vote if there's a tie on the city council. How would the city be sure that your tiebreaker would be based on what you personally believe is right and wrong, and not any personal relationship you have with the city council?
That's an easy one to answer. If you spend any time with my wife, you will know that she has her own opinion and her own agenda. So I think it should be the other way around. She tells me what to do all the time, which is fantastic. But as regards to that, I don't even think that's an issue because she has her own agenda, and what she wants for the city is not necessarily what I'm looking for as a city as well. So we do have a difference of opinion on that, but we still sleep in the same bed, so it's okay.
Thank you for being willing to take that question. This will be the final question from the audience, and then following that, we'll have your 2-minute closing statements. The final question, which will be 1-minute answers, is what role and how much should we promote tourism as a way of helping Silver Springs? And whose turn is it to start?
So sometimes it seems like tourism's a 4-letter word around here. We are leery of it. The great thing about tourists is they come, spend money, and then leave. And so there is some benefit to it. The challenge comes from a budgetary standpoint of how much can the city itself afford to promote itself, especially a smaller city like ourselves. We have some amazing resources here between the Historical Society and some of the natural wonders like the geyser and the different sparkling springs. And so I think we definitely need to take a more active role. There are regional tourism councils that we used to have very regular involvement in, and we have significantly less involvement in today. And the city staff needs to be back and involved in those, getting our name out there and getting promotion coming, because tourism dollars ultimately at the end of the day help the community as a whole.
I'm all for tourism. I'm all for, again, sustained growth. But I think tourism is a big part of that. We deal a lot with mines and contractors that come in the summer, and I would say that's kind of like a tourism. They come here to work, they spend money, and they go. We employ anywhere from 10 to 12 full-time employees at the store. We don't employ part-time, they're all full-time people. So I've always felt like I have an obligation to them. And when we see these tourist buses and we see the contractors come in, I love it because that helps me support our community, helps me support our employees, helps me support our friends and our family. So I am all for tourism. What I'd love to see is all of us hanging out with Bill Horsley and going through Caribou County and looking at all the crazy sites, the cemeteries, the graveyards. What a kick in the ass that would be. And he would charge, and I would gladly pay that. So anytime you're ready, I got my checkbook out. I shut it off.
Have a mic on. My perspective on tourism is that we definitely are missing. I know we don't have a very navigable river in our area, but we're missing a boat, and that boat is huge. The number of people that come through this community, going to Bear Lake, going to Jackson, and going to Lava Hot Springs is phenomenal. And we need, in my opinion, to take advantage of that, and we need to draw them into our community to hopefully leave some money here amongst all of our businesses just today. And I'm working on that right now, so if it's something you don't like, come give me an earful. But yesterday I went to Lava Hot Springs. I picked up probably about 100 pounds of brochures, filled the kiosk at the Geyser Visitor Center. I did that at the end of August, and I was dumbfounded to see that kiosk empty in around a month. And the number of people coming and going at the Geyser is phenomenal. I'm all for tourism and taking advantage of it. Thank you.
Okay. We'll now begin with our 2-minute closing remarks, and just as a reminder, this is where you have the opportunity to tell this group and the people viewing it on our live streaming why they should vote for you. Mr. Bynum.
There's great people running. These are both good men on either side of me. I am not in city government. I haven't ever done anything like that. I've been on boards, I've been donating, volunteering my time for different programs, but I think you've got a great choice between any of us. Ultimately, what's your goal for Soda Springs? It's either A, B, or C. If one of us align better with your goals, then vote for that person. I would urge you to get out and vote. We live here, we work here, we sleep here, we spend our money here, we love Soda Springs. But as far as why to vote me versus someone else, I want to see the town grow. People talk about, we're right on the cusp of great things, or we're right on the cusp of something different. I agree, but we are also on the cusp of maybe a declining population and things going to further outlying area. Soda Springs is such a great area to live in. I am pro-business, I'm pro-growth, but I want it sustained and I want to grow within our bounds. Infrastructure is very important, and I don't think that's been brought up with the candidates for mayor. I say that because I can't say mayoral candidate. I don't even know if that's how you say that, but it's the candidate for mayor, that's what it is. But we need to spend money on infrastructure. There are fantastic employees in the city right now that are working with the city, and those employees do a fantastic job for us. There's never a problem until your water's not working or until your sewer's backing up, and the city is so good about helping us out. But we need to make sure that we are taking care of them and making sure that we are increasing the value of our life here in Soda Springs, because it is such a great place.
Thanks for not turning the mic off. If you good citizens choose me as your next mayor, things I'd like to work on is our economy, revitalizing Main Street, and our employees. We've lost some employees in the last few months, and I want to make sure that our city employees are taken care of. I once was a City of Soda Springs employee, and I want to make sure we don't lose any employees, because every employee the city loses costs all of you money. and it costs me money as a taxpayer as well. I want to make sure that that is something that we can try to bring it into. I care deeply about this community. I think I owe it a debt, and I would like an opportunity to repay the debt. I see so many faces out there that you all have done a lot for me, and I appreciate it a bunch. I'm careful about making promises because promises have to be kept. But that said, if I'm elected mayor, I promise some things, and one of them is I'll listen to you all, and I'll listen carefully. I'll communicate, and I will advocate. I'll be this community's biggest advocate. I'd like to think I am a bit of an advocate now, but I think that the mayor, office of mayor, is the chief advocator. In communications, I will communicate in ways that I haven't thought of yet, but I will find multiple ways. One of them is putting a newsletter in utility bills, social media, YouTube, etc. Every way that I can think of. The meetings on YouTube, we're averaging around 50 to 60 views. I appreciate folks participating that way. If I'm selected mayor, my promise is I will serve with honesty and integrity. Finally, I would like Mayor Austin Robinson to stand up, and I want to express my appreciation for what he's done for our community over the last 8 years. And could we all give him a round of applause, please? Thank you, Mayor. I think he'd be the first to say it's not an easy job.
It's not.
Mr. Lau.
I agree with Barack, and I think that we have 5 great people running, and I appreciate their willingness to serve our community. And I'm grateful to be lumped in with them tonight as another individual to raise their hand. If I'm elected mayor, there's a couple of things that I think we really need to do. And, you know, sometimes we just have to look beyond the trees that are in front of us and see the forest and its beauty as a whole. And that's one of the things that I would like to accomplish. And there's so many talented people in this community, and they're doing so many great things. And sometimes, well, most of the time we don't even know what's happening. But we're not moving the needle as far as we could because we're all doing it by ourselves. And so I want to create 3 committees if I'm elected mayor. The first one's a Civic Leadership Council, which will bring the churches and the civic groups like Rotary and Lions Club and the school district and the hospital and industry together so that we can all come together to solve challenges that we're facing and we're all doing stuff. Then a Mayor's Youth Council. And this isn't an original idea, they exist throughout Idaho. But a Mayor's Youth Council that, one, gets our kids involved, but then also gets our kids to create activities for themselves, right? We hear all the time that there's nothing for the kids to do. Well, let's let the kids figure out what they want to do, and let's help them do it. And let's enable them to do it. And they can also be a great part of the communication strategy to make communication better through social media and through TikTok and text messages and other things like that. And we can really empower and use their skills in that way to make communication flow better between citizen and city. The last one is a Citizens Development Council. The city owns a lot of property, from farm ground to parklands to buildings. We got a lot of property, and a lot of it we don't use, and most of us don't even know it exists. And it costs us a lot of money. So a council that will help us solve and figure out how we can dispose of those properties. Anyway, thank you so much for coming tonight. Thanks to Trent, Rotary, Alana for helping put all this together, Farm Bureau, and appreciate you guys. Get out and rock the boat November 4th.
Please join me in thanking our candidates.
Yes, you want to mention the Small Town Ruckus because we all have interviews on there as well.
Oh, yes. Actually, you probably, they don't coordinate that through me. What do you, I mean, I just heard the first, I heard Mr. Lau on Small Town Ruckus. And interesting, that's what I was about to talk about is we're Soda Springs. We're about as far removed as you can get. I participated a few years ago in an Idaho broadband analysis, and it was kind of an interesting thing.
they installed a little app on my phone and the phone of 9,999 other Idahans. And we went around the state, and unbeknownst to us, everywhere we went, our phone registered what the broadband was, what kind of bandwidth we had. You want to know the sad news? We live in the worst broadband corner in the state of Idaho. We have the least bandwidth here, okay? However, having said that, there's no reason that we can't get into the 21st century. And so, I'm out of time.
Your 3 minutes is up.
It is. But I want to touch on the small town ruckus. Small town ruckus. I'm delighted because podcasts, people say podcasts made or broke the last presidential election. It is an increasingly popular way to communicate, and I'm glad we have one. What do we know about when the next?
They're all done.
They're all done?
They're all
Okay.
on.
And somebody asked me just today, are they on Spotify? Where do I go
Yes.
to find them?
They're on Spotify and they're also on the,
Apple iTunes.
Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts,
And
okay.
there's also, if you're on Facebook, and you look at a post that I put up there, there is a URL that you can go to. It's fm dot something or other. Anyway, there is a URL that you can listen to the podcast if you don't have a smartphone or have access to those Spotify or Apple apps.
Bottom line is technology is sometimes the bane of my life, but in this particular case, it is enabling me to find out more about the people seeking office than I ever have been able to find out before. I mean, so they're answering questions. I also want to mention Alana. We have phase 2 of the reels coming up, is that right?
Yeah.
So you all saw the 30-second reels asking all of the candidates some questions. Alana, by the way, thank you. Big hand for Alana. And a phase 2 is in the works, and we'll have another series of reels.
It'll be posted sometime shortly before voting.
Okay.
Try and encourage people to get out. And we're so glad you guys came here, but please bring people to the polls. We love that you're active and engaged, but if you don't show up to vote, what was the point?
Yeah.
So please watch those videos, be engaged, and vote based on information, useful information from these videos and this forum.
Let's exercise our right to citizenship. And final comment. Everything here we're going to try to have posted on at least the Rotary and the Farm Bureau Facebook pages. Please use those pages to ask additional questions. We've opened those pages up. You can go to like even the meeting notice for this meeting and just do a comment. Say, hey, I would like to know, and then put your question there. We have no way of guaranteeing these gentlemen will answer the question, but they can't answer the question if it's never asked. So we're willing to serve as the conduit through which you can pose questions. And other than that, thank you all for coming this evening. Do me a favor, grab a wonderful, delicious chicken salad sandwich as you leave, and please remember, vote. It is our government. Thank you.
Amen.